There's a question that has been swimming around in my mind for the last few days. Is our financial ship about to sink? Please stay tuned. Hello, friends. Welcome back to Budgeting Over 40. I'm Melissa, and I do believe we are in a state of emergency over here with our finances. Now, it may sound a little dramatic, but I do believe that I need to buckle down, I need to take a look, and I need to see what we can correct. We need to right the sails before our financial ship sink. Now, the spreadsheet you're looking at is something that I threw together quickly in Google Sheets. This is for demonstration purposes mainly, but I also can take this with me on the go. The rough draft was done on paper in my planner, but I want to show you guys what has been going on in my mind. I'm trying to put it out there just so I don't stress myself out too much and just to show you guys, give you the real of how it is with money. Because most times I do come in here and I do my paycheck allocation for you guys to see, but you don't see the ins and out as to how we do with money. So this is to encourage somebody out there that if you're in a pickle, you're in a bind, sit down and do it like this. I'm going to try to see if I could put a screenshot on the screen of what I did for the rough draft on paper. But here you could see I have a few different sections highlighted. I have the itemized view. We're going to do that part last. We do have an overspending in YNAB. We have upcoming expenses. This is for the month of September. We have credit cards to pay down. And we also have early October expenses. So let's jump right in. The first section that I'm going to take care of is the overspending in YNAB. Because when I do get any kind of money, it's going to have to take care of this section. So the first amount that I'm going to put in is $500 and a penny. This was for heating oil. So we did have to get heating oil last week. It cost us a little bit over $500. I was able to cover some of it, but there is $500 and a penny that's left to be covered. The next one is going to be 121 and 28 cents. This is for groceries. We did have to go grocery shopping. I went to Stop and Shop yesterday. This is the amount that was spent. It was put on a credit card, so this is something that needs to be paid off to clear that amount before the month is through. Next is 225. Now this is for my son's braces. This is on one of our credit cards to be paid off as well. I did have money assigned in the category, but we did have to move that out because things happened, things came up, and we needed to roll with the punches and cover what we needed to cover. And the last one is something that I paid yesterday, $50 for a copay. I did take my son to get blood work, and they're just billing me now for the copay of $50. I don't know why it's so expensive because the doctor's appointment is only 25, but somehow the blood work is $50. So I don't know. My son has a lot of allergies. There is a lot of things that he's allergic to. We do go to the allergist and he has to do extensive blood work to see if we can rule out things because he has seasonal allergies, but he also have a lot of food allergies. So total amount that is overspent in YNAB as of today's date, today is the 18th of September, $896.29. Now, I'm going to tell you about the credit cards that we need to pay back down to the balance that it needs to be after paying my minimum payments for the month of September. So the first one is going to be 225 needs to go back onto my Capital One number one card. This is the card that my son's braces get charged to. So I need to cover that. Then I also have 492.01 to put back onto Capital One number two. Now, Capital One number two is a card that I do use to purchase heating oil. So I did tell you that we need to cover $500 and a penny, but you could see here 492 and a penny is what needs to be covered because when I swipe the card to pay for the heating oil, there is cash back that comes back. It was $8 that I got cash back, and I applied that to the balance of the card. So it reduced it by $8. Now, technically, when I cover the overspending in YNAB, there's going to be $8 in that category that I will be able to move somewhere else. And the last one is going to be $479 and 78 cents that needs to go back to my Apple Card because my Apple Card is the card that I'm using right now to float my expenses that I have no money to pay for. So $1,196.79 is what we need to put onto the credit cards to pay them back down. All right, so now that we know that, let's move on to the upcoming expenses that are coming between now the 18th to September 30th. So there's a lot of the expenses that were already paid. So here we go, $526 is the full amount for the child support to send over to my daughter. The next one is going to be $25 for the minimum payment for my Apple Card. I haven't paid that yet. That one is due at the end of the month. The cell phone bill is going to be $274.24. That's coming up due on the 30th. So let's put cell phone for this one. And the last one is going to be $89 for my internet bill. So let's go ahead and put that there. There is one that I'm not included in this, which is SiriusXM. SiriusXM is going to be paid for the annual. I am signing up to pay it annually, but that's going to come out of sinking funds. So I'm not putting that there because money is going to come from the sinking fund. Actually, I should. Right? Let's go ahead and do that. It's going to throw my whole thing off because that is not on it's not on the paper plan that I did. But do know that that money is going to come from the sinking fund to cover the annual subscription because I don't pay for annual subscriptions out of my regular budget. That money comes from swiping my Apple Card. All right, so that's a total of $914.24. Now, what I need to do next is for all of the early bills that are coming up in the month of October that needs to be covered. All right, so let's jump down into the early October expenses. The first thing what we need to pay that's going to be due on the 1st is the rent for $2,500. I'm going to put that there. I also need to pay $40 to my student loan. That one is due on the 1st as well. It's an automatic draft, so I need to have money available in the account. The rent is something that we're going to drop the check off. We do have a grace period of 5 days. The 5th of October is on Sunday. So I think if we wait until Sunday to drop the check off because the office is closed, we'll be in trouble. So we are going to drop the check off on Friday, late Friday. So they won't be able to deposit it until early the next week just to put us in the safe zone because they do charge a fee if we are late. Next one to be paid is going to be Affirm for $4.15 and 35 cents. This is for buying the tickets to go to Jamaica when my niece passed away, and we are currently paying that off. That's going to come out of the account at the top of the month. Next one is the second Affirm that's going to be due for $3.28 and 33 cents. Now the difference with this one and Affirm number one is that hubby is the one paying for this. He pays for this, and he's also paying for the next expense that I'm going to put through for 128 and 84 cents. And the only reason why I'm putting these here is because they're going to be charged to my credit card. And this is a thing he ordered from Raymore and Flanagan. This is for our home, but he said that he would take care of it because he wanted it. So it is there, 128 and 84 cents. And then the last thing that needs to be paid is the electric, which is due on the 3rd. So let's go ahead and enter that amount there as well. So that's a total of $3,546.52 that needs to be paid at the top of the month before any money comes in. So this money technically has to come from hubby. It has to come from rollover from the month of September, or some of it's just going to have to be floated on a credit card. So the only thing that can technically be floated on a credit card is the electric. So we need to come up with $3,412.52. And if I minus the rent out of all that, it's going to be $912.52. Now, mind you, like I said, these two here, and let's just highlight them in a different color. Those are going to be paid for by hubby. So now let's talk about the itemized view over here. Once I start entering the numbers, you will see the tallies go through. But let's just talk through what needs to be happen or what needs to happen from now, today is the 18th, to the time that I get paid also towards the end of the month of September. We still have 12 days left in September, and I think this is why I am stressing so much. Now, in my account or in YNAB, I do budget using YNAB. There is an available amount in my Apple Card payment section of $296.41. Now, I haven't paid it to my Apple Card just yet because I will need that money for other things. This is going to have to be covered. And this is the reason why I said cards that need to be paid down, Apple's going to have to be paid down by $479.78 because this 296 that's sitting in the category right now is going to have to, it is included in this 479. But because I may have to move that money to put other places, I will have to cover the total amount. I hope you guys are following. I do want you guys to get an idea of what goes on behind the scenes, how much I stress when things are not going the way that I hope. So I'm just walking through it with you guys. All right, so the first thing that's going to have to be done before I get paid, today's the 18th. I keep saying that. I am getting paid on the 26th. It may come in on the 25th. Remember when I was here to do my paycheck allocation for my first paycheck in the month of September? I did mention that I'm going to wait to use the next paycheck to pay my auto loan. Well, guess what Melissa did, you guys? Oh my goodness. I allocated money for my personal loan and then had a complete brain fart. Sorry for the vulgar word, but I had a complete out of mind experience because I ended up using the money for my personal loan to pay the auto loan. Yes, I did. I don't know what was going on. I don't know if I was thinking maybe because, I need to pay the auto loan, I need to pay the auto loan. I went ahead and I scheduled a payment, and it was after the payment was drafted from the account. I was like, oh my goodness, wrong thing. That money was supposed to sit in the account to pay my personal loan that is due on the 21st, couple days before I get paid, you guys. So that, I guess that's what sent me in a whole spiral. I think that's what it is. But anyway, my personal loan needs to be paid within a few days. That amount is going to be $1,151.04. Now, you guys, right now, all I have available is $296.41. That's all I have available that's left over from the last paycheck. There is money in sinking funds, but this is all I have available, $296.41. So, where am I going to get money to pay the personal loan? I haven't had any conversation with hubby just yet. And I don't know if I am. I'm going to try to figure this on my own, but you guys, I'm thinking to cover this $854.63 after the personal loan is paid, I'm going to pull that money out of the emergency fund. I'm going to pull out $1,000 from the emergency fund. I think so. That's going to completely deplete the emergency fund down to zero. I don't know. I don't want to do that. And that's why I'm saying I'm going to have a conversation with hubby, but I may have to pull that money out. If I do, it's going to put me in the positive of $145.37. Now, when I get paid, which take care of the personal loan, which is due on the 21st, I will be getting paid on the 26th. So that paycheck amount, because I am full time, I am salaried, the paycheck is going to be $2,483.77. That's going to bring me to a total of 206 no $2,629.14. Now, you would think that, okay, since I pulled out the $1,000 out of the emergency fund, I should go ahead and put it back. But I don't have that on my pre-plan or the draft that I have because hubby did transfer over $3,000 already into our joint account to take care of September's bills. So I'm not sure if there's any more money coming from him. And that's the reason why I don't know if I should talk to him about the money just yet. So I'm just going to bypass putting the $1,000 back in the emergency fund out of the paycheck. And I'm going to take care of what needs to be taken care of. So out of this $2,629.14, I need to cover the overspending in YNAB. Now, the overspending is only $896.29, but to be able to get my credit cards back down to the balances they were at the top of the month, I will have to pay the credit cards back down, which is $1,196.79, because I don't want to create new debt. So let's go ahead and subtract this amount from the paycheck. So this is going to be credit cards to pay down. All right. So that's going to put me at $1,432.35. Now that I have that, yes, I could throw the money back into the emergency fund, but you guys do remember that I have upcoming expenses to pay before the month of September is over. $914.24 needs to be paid. So I'm going to subtract that amount from what's left over. That's going to bring me down to $518.11. So this is September's bills. So now we're in a pickle. I did my monthly budget forecast for the month of October and I didn't put any rollover. But you could see here there's a small rollover of $518.11 that can be used. Barring no incidentals occur, nothing else pops up, and I don't really have to do much more. Will I need some more groceries? Probably. Will I need some household consumables? Probably. But this $518 is what we have left out of the paycheck. But you guys, guess what? We have $3,546.52 to cover at the top of the month. Yes, we do. So even if I take out the Affirm number 2 and the Raymore and Flanagan that hubby is going to be paying for, I still have a bit of money to pay out. So if I go ahead and subtract the $3,546.52, I need to subtract it out of the 518, it's going to put us at a deficit of $3,028.41. So this, we are in trouble for this one. We are in big trouble for this one because I won't be getting paid. I won't be getting paid until the first income that's coming in the month of October is going to be on the 6th. The second bit of income is coming in on the 10th, maybe the 9th if I get it early, and I usually do. So we need to cover this amount. Since it's going to be the top of October, hubby will probably send some money in, and he did it in the month of September. He covered the rent and all the bills that were due at the top of the month. So I'm potentially that can happen again. But in the event, we still have a deficit before any real income comes in. Only thing I can think about is the rent can be pushed back to come out of the first paycheck for the month of October. I also could float the internet, not the internet, but the electric on a credit card. But Affirm and my student loan, Affirm number 1 and student loan needs to be paid. So out of this $518, we need to take care of the student loan, which is, let's do a subtraction, and we need to take care of Affirm number 1. And if I do that out of the 518, which puts us in a better position, we will have $62.76 left out of September's last paycheck. So now that I've gone over the numbers with you guys, I want to ask myself the question again. Is our financial ship about to sink? I'm not so sure we're sinking, but we are on rough waters and we are going through a storm. Is it proper or is it the right thing to pull money out of the emergency fund to cover a complete mishap on my part? Not really, but this is something that we have to do to right our sails and stay afloat. Is our boat taking on water? Yes, but we have plugged that hole, or we are in the process of plugging the hole, and we have to keep on rowing. So you guys, please let me know what you think of this video. Let me know if you believe that we are in a financial state of emergency right now. if you think that our ship is currently sinking. Do you think that this is the right way to go? There is one of two things that I could do. I could leave all of these expenses on the credit cards and worry about them later. I really don't want to do that because I don't want to create any more new debt. But if I go ahead and cover these expenses, it's going to pull money out of the emergency fund. And that is something that scares me a little bit. So I'd love to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments, what would you do? If you were in our situation right now, what would you do? So thank you guys so much for taking the time out to watch this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will talk to you guys in the next one. Bye now.